Hello, friends, and welcome to 10 Points Under, where I have reached my next form with the power to draw on the screen. That is 10 PU, folks. 10 stinky ones right there. This is Big a Bullfrog, and joining me today in this momentous occasion is none other than awesome Heroscaper, Doc. Welcome, Doc.
It's great to be here again.
Yeah, it's great to have you back. I'm really excited to do another cool game with you, and especially we've got a really good game with a very different format and style going on. So I know you'll be able to share some awesome facts about that. I'll just introduce the players in the armies really quick. We've got kevindola versus mtl1998. kevindola, great player. mtl1998, also a great player. He's been playing in a lot of tournaments. I think this is the first time we've been able to show him on the channel, but we'll be able to see a lot of cool stuff from him. This is an Insanity of Battle format. This is from the recent tournament that was going on. Unfortunately, the only Insanity of Battle game that I have, because I lost games when my computer crashed, which was a sad day, but this should be a good one. So really quick, we'll be watching some of the placement process because that's some of what's different and really important with this format. But we'll have kevindola playing Nilfheim. You'll see Nilfheim right here already. We've got Arkmer and Elaria the Pale yet to be placed, as well as 4 squads of Buccaneers of Tortuga, or these little like reddy, pinky, beigey type figures. mtl1998, he's playing an army with 4 squads of Dreadgul Raiders, Valgard, Pel the Hill Giant, as well as the B11 Resistance Corps, who are up here on top. So I'll let you talk about Insanity of Battle really quick, Doc, so that we can get some good information on that.
Absolutely. So I was really excited to see this format get tried out online. This is the first time this format's, to my knowledge, ever been done. So a lot of people are familiar with the Heat of Battle format, where players take turns placing a squad of figures, and they're not restricted to start zones. There have been various different rules over the years on how close the figures have to be when they're placed, whether they can be placed adjacent. These days, nobody allows adjacent placement in Heat of Battle, but you could place all over the map. So rather than being in 2 start zones, you kind of start sort of intermixed, you typically, and that's been a pretty popular format. It tends to help some of the more melee heavy armies. And then recently, or relatively recently, we've tried Chaos of Battle, which is where you place your opponent's army, and that's a kind of a nasty twist, because then you'll place Raylan really far away from the rest of their troops, or you'll place all their figures on low ground. So then this is Insanity of Battle, which is another variant, and then this is actually kind of blending the two by just saying you take turns placing a squad or placing a card worth of figures, and it can be your figures or your opponent's. So on your turn, you could place one of your cards for the figures, you could place one of your squads, and then on your opponent might just place another one of yours, and then so you just go back and forth until everything's placed. Typically, you're going to try to place yours in advantageous positions or your opponent's in poor positions, and both of those, which of those is more important? The strategy gets really intense. The other thing that we see a lot of in these Insanity of Battle games a lot is people trying to kind of set things up for the first turn. In this tournament, and we're not sure we're going to do this if we run this format in the future, but in this tournament, we had it so that one player automatically wins initiative at the beginning of the first round. That's a common feature in Heat of Battle, but in this Insanity of Battle, what that's meant is that both players really knew who was going to get the jump. So sometimes the player who wins initiative is a little more aggressive in their placement, trying to put figures close to each other, knowing they're going to be able to get some quick height attacks. So we're jumping in early here, and from the looks of it, MTL has been placing mostly his own figures, because I do see that the B11s are around on height, and Valgard is also in a nice high spot there. So I'm assuming MTL placed those, whereas you can see those Dreadguls on the right that are in the water. I'm guessing Kevin placed those because you wouldn't choose to place your Dreadguls there. But and then you can see the pirates down on the bottom there. By the way, these are MTL's 2 armies, and I think one of the reasons he's done really well in this event is, I think, because it was a new format, people really struggled trying to figure out 2 armies to bring to the Take 2 format, that would be balanced against each other. And I think he did really one of the best jobs of creating 2 relatively balanced armies, and that's part of why he's gotten here. But the pirates are really interesting because of that auto initiative. Because if you read the pirate card, which I'm sure I'm sure Bigga will link in the description.
Hmm.
You'll see that that they get an attack bonus when they attack a figure that doesn't have any revealed order markers on it. So with this initiative bonus, Kevin Dola knows that if he puts the first order marker on Buccaneers, he's guaranteed to get they'll be swinging attacks of 4. So that's a big factor here in the place.
Yeah, that'll be a really, really big edge. I actually really like I like the Buccaneers in general already for that because it's a really cool trick. And then I
Right.
mean I can just see how in Heat of Battle, Insanity of Battle, that's going to be a huge tool.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And just really quick, one question I had is so the players were able to know who was going to have the automatic win for initiative before they picked their armies. Is that correct?
Well, so yeah, essentially yes, because there was a dice off, and the dice off said the person who one person got a choice of either taking first army choice or second army choice out of the 4 possible armies, and then the other person would get the choice of either going first or either placing first or placing second, and whoever had second placement automatically wins initiative. And as far as I know, literally every person who had the choice of first or second placement chose second placement, so they would get that auto initiative win. That was
Oh, okay.
so essentially when MTL was picking armies, MTL knew that, although I believe MTL actually deferred and took second army choice, but
Oh,
MTL knew Matt knew that Kevin was extremely likely to choose second placement.
cool. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. All right, so with that awesome introduction there, we're going to go ahead and watch the remainder of the placing process. This is just the point that I came into the game and was able to start videoing the stuff, but we'll be able to watch from here on out with their placing. So I'll go ahead and start that up. And so it's now MTL's turn to place some figures.
It has a really big impact. And we did see some games that were almost comical with how huge an impact that initial placement had. I actually had one game myself where it was incredibly impactful, where I was able to place my opponent's figures to create a big cluster and then hit, I think, 6 figures with Jotun's Wild Swing on the first turn.
Oh, wow, nice.
And there was another game that happened where somebody placed something like 5 or 6 figures within 2 spaces of a spot that Visceron the Blood Knight could get to, and he did his Bloodstorm special attack and just took out like a whole zone of figures. And then I think there was a Azazel the Kyrie warrior was able to hit like 5 figures with a whirlwind attack at one point. So all kinds of crazy stuff has happened. So
Yeah, lots of cool stuff. I'm guessing that since MTL got the first pick, like you said, I'm pretty sure he put the B11 up here in order to like reserve this high ground. I'm guessing that in response to that, Kevin Dola probably first picked Nilfheim far away, where he wouldn't be able to be put into water by MTL or anything like that. Wouldn't be abused by the B11.
That makes sense. I'm not totally sure I could go back and look at it in version history if I really wanted to, but yeah, that makes sense. He probably figured there were a bunch of different ways he could attack. You could see now a squad of pirates got put in the corner there, and then Kevin Dola responded by putting 3 more of the Vikings, the Dreadgulls, on low ground there. So he's setting up more, attacks of 5 on them. So he's hoping he's probably looking to wipe out. Ideally, he's going to be looking to get 4 attacks with height on Dreadgulls in that first round. Maybe hit 4 5v3s would kind of be Kevin's dream first turn here.
Right. Yeah. I actually really like watching this. This is a cool tug of war.
This is a very smart play by MTL. He's taking away the height advantage possibility by putting those figures there. So now, that not only is that protecting the low ground ones from the height attacks, but it means that if he kills those ones that are level ground, the ones in water will be able to jump out on his OM one. So it's a very smart to play that blocker move. That's good thinking.
Yeah, that's really good placement there.
It'll be interesting to see if I was Kevin, I'd probably put some Buccaneers on the north end there, like the 2 little islands of 3. Yeah, that would be my thought, just to get some more angles. Although actually, it's gonna be, now that I look at it, there's nowhere to get height attacks on. Oh no, you do have disengage, so you could squeak between Pell.
That's true. Yeah, disengage could come right through here.
You would be giving up height attacks from on the flip side though. So I can understand why he chose the south end instead. It makes sense. It's a safer play. He's trying to conserve his Buccaneers a little bit because if he goes on that top end, those guys are. Another thought he may be having is he wants to keep Pell from being able to get involved early because he could.
That makes sense.
Because if he doesn't put anything near Pell, then Pell's gonna be kind of stuck out there because he's not that Valgard is bad. Valgard's actually a pretty solid bonding option for the Dread goals, so
Hmm.
he's gonna be okay either way. But
Yeah, that's actually kind of opposite of what I was thinking. I was kind of agreeing with like placing here, and then you could surround Pell, whose like bonding heroes are kind of weak to the Buccaneers because they don't have revealed order markers on their
very,
cards.
very true, very true. Uh,
But I can also see the just like avoid him and deal with it later.
yeah, you can make an argument either way. I would probably, I do kind of like mobbing him. The only reason I wouldn't want to do it is you're because of the way the placement dynamic is playing out. You're gonna have opportunities to
Hmm.
get a bunch of height attacks in this first turn or two. So if you're spending your time taking down Pell, all of this work putting the dread goals in water is going to go to waste. This is a very good move because if
That
he
makes
doesn't
sense.
do this, he's going to get blocked out of it would only take one more placement of dread goals down in that area to basically block off the attacking route. So I definitely agree with this placement on Kevin's part. He needs to make sure that he has the opportunity to get at least this way he can actually guarantee himself all four attacks with height on those four dread goals that are down there. You can
Yeah,
hit
these guys.
those four. So like that to me that looks like his opening turn right now is just trying to kill those four dread goals with attacks with height. I don't know if that's what he's going to do, but that would be my expectation at this stage. It looks like he only placed three of them. I wonder why that is.
3 Buccaneers. Oh,
Oh,
there you
there's.
go.
So he was debating, I guess, whether he wanted to put one a little farther out. But so the rule on the placement is when you place a squad, all of the figures in that squad need to be within 3 clear sight spaces of one another. You can't spread them out any farther than that, and they also can't be adjacent to enemy figures.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think
that's the
like I think a good example of that maybe is like these B11 where that's about as spread out as you can get with a 4-man squad. You can maybe do a little bit more, but
Yeah, the way I think of it, the biggest you can get is kind of a big triangle, a
hmm
triangle of length 3 on each side. But then if you have a 4-figure squad, the fourth one just kind of floats somewhere in the middle.
yeah,
So was that Ilaria up top? Are we down to Ilaria and Arkmer and that's it?
yeah.
Or
It looks like it. I believe all the squads. Yeah, all the squads have been placed. Bonding heroes. Yep. So it's Ilaria, and then we've got Arkmer as Kevin's last place.
so he
Right
might
there.
he might only. I'm reconsidering what his opening move is. He might end up only moving three of those uh pirates up top just because he might want to move the one pirate that otherwise is going to get hit from height.
This guy. Yeah.
He might end up moving that one. I wouldn't be shocked if he throws that one up top for a level ground attack.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we'll see how he chooses to play it, but
Yeah, I'd imagine because I mean pirates really hate getting hit by melee. They've got their D20 defense against ranged attacks, but melee only 2 defense really hurts. So I,
I'm
I
also
think
I'm
a
also
move
guessing
there.
that early on Kevin is probably going to concentrate on dread goals, and he might even just completely ignore the B11s. At this stage of the game, the B11s are just not as threatening as
Mm-hmm.
the dread goals. The dread goals are just way more damage output. He would be perfectly happy to see the B11s attacking him, and he would just keep going and killing bucks. So yeah, I'm predicting at least 3 attacks from height. We'll see if he goes for 4 of those or if he goes for a slightly more conservative play. Knowing Kevin, I'm guessing he'll be a little more conservative, but we'll see. Tends to be a variance reducing kind of player.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Interesting that he's going for even ground there.
So he's trying to keep the dread gulls from being able to get out of the water
That makes
because
sense.
at least the one of them in the shadow there now can't move through engage, so it won't be able to move. But it does look like he's going to do 4 activations down there. I guess maybe he figures Valgard's going to kill the one up top either way. So what's the big deal? Oh no, he did decide he's going to do that one up. I'm
Let's
surprised
do.
he went for that spot though, and not taking both of the level twos. It's a little curious to me.
Yeah,
I would have thought that instead of that one, yeah, instead of the one that's kind of next to the ruin, he would have put one.
just right
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Right. Well, anyway, he did get the kill on the dread goal in the middle, which not surprising that he would go for the dread goal, not the B11, and then got a couple 5-on-3s. But one of them got blocked.
Oh
That's
no.
Two
4v3
blocked.
blocked. Damn.
Not a great start for Kevin.
Yeah. Finish the
Two
cycle
kills,
going
but
through.
not really what he's looking for there.
Yeah, definitely hoping for. I mean, definitely hoping for this guy to go through because now he can move even ground right there.
Yeah, although he was going to get that even ground either way because he had the other dread goal
Oh,
on
that's
the
true. That's true.
south,
Yeah.
which is why I was surprised that he made those choices in movement. But anyway, Valgard doing Valgard things, no
Mm-hmm.
surprise. Uh, and that's it's such a great tool to be able to bounce around and get that bonus. With Valgard, you really want to be disengaging as much as possible. And it's actually a really nice spot for Valgard because he's only going to need to single disengage to go charge somewhere else if he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would be aggressively charging around with Valgard. So, and he did get that height spot as expected. So that's almost for sure. He's going to probably go for 3. Yes, you might end up moving one of these dread goals that's on the high ground just so you can get an attack down on the Buccaneer, and that
Mm-hmm.
would also screen Valgard. So that would actually be a really strong move. He should move one of the two. Not I
Oh,
don't love
interesting
that.
coming over here.
Don't love that move.
Hmm.
I think he's got to use all. Well, he's banking on it. That's not a risk I would have taken. I would have wanted to get my 3 attacks. I understand. I guess he didn't want to give up a height attack, but I can see it. But I would have wanted to block Valgard off. Also, I would have wanted to move
Yeah, I think
one of the
this.
take the one that's 2 hexes above that and put it there for a height attack. That would have been my play. But
Yeah, that's just such a nice spot to block off.
because then Valgard's going to get a free charge, won't have to disengage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but not a bad start for MTL if you think about the risk he was under with the automatic initiative win
Mm-hmm.
to get out of there with in the situation he's in with just 2 dead Dragold. And how many did he take out there? He took out 2, so it's 2
Yeah,
to
two of
2
them.
after the first order marker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really all you're asking for when you have the auto loss and initiative in Insanity.
Yeah, if you're keeping pace, then that's really good. And now kevindola is down to 3.
especially especially since Buccaneers no longer are getting that bonus against.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty nice start. Really.
Now Kevin's getting his kills.
Indeed. Is he going for Valgard up top? I didn't see that attack yet.
Not yet. It's
Yep.
happening.
So he's going to go for the 4 dice on Valgard, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Use that bonus while you can. And the lone survivor over there on the hill is holding out. So
Still the lone survivor.
but this is not again this is not a bad start for MTL. This is about par for the course, really.
Yeah, I think he's in a pretty fine position on the whole.
Yeah, and he's got most of his dread goals in fairly good spots. I assume he's going to move the one that's still in the water up to attack. I guess he's debating right now whether he wants to disengage with Valgard, which I would do. I would swing Valgard around. Yeah,
Like
exactly.
around this way or
Yeah, I mean that's the
even down that
safer
way.
route.
Either way.
That's the safer route, just because you can. Although I guess I'm trying to remember the wording of Valgard. You're gonna have to attack. Oof, that's no good.
Yikes.
And this is why it would have been nice to have screened that spot out.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with
Because
that.
then he would have been able to just walk in for the attack, and he still would have had height. I mean,
Yeah.
Also, just don't go for 5. That would be good.
And that's probably one of the best pieces of advice I've heard is just don't blink with 5 dice.
Yeah, it's extremely helpful. Yeah, so he did move that one out of the water. That makes sense. Overall, he's stabilized his position pretty well. I guess now he's debating: does he want to move another dread goal in there to try to take out the avoid? Because what's going to happen is even if he kills that dread goal, the other one is going to step up to height.
Mm-hmm.
And have 5 dice on Valgard. So it's not a great spot.
Yeah, and let's see.
This is why I was debating whether it would have been better to swing around the right side. That was actually my first instinct, was to swing to
Okay.
that spot,
Mm-hmm.
just because then you could more reliably screen it out. But oof,
Holy
oof.
cow. That's a lot of A lot of no skulls in this game already.
How did he? Once again, he missed out on an attack. Oh, because he grabbed the glyph. Well,
Okay.
that
I
does make
guess
sense.
that's
He's
yeah, that's
grabbing
helpful
Wayne.
long run.
So yeah.
So that is really quick for any viewers who might not be familiar with C3V glyphs. Oh no, wait, hang on, that's Wannock. Dang it, I was gonna talk about Ingvild, but
Well,
that
yeah,
one's down
there
there.
is Ingvild, which is just disengage. So
Yeah, gives your
it
army
just gives your
disengage.
whole army disengage. It's pretty simple. So, but obviously, no point in Kevin getting it, and MTL hasn't really had the opportunity. But I can understand why he's getting some Wannick on. Although, to be honest, Wannick isn't going to decide this game
Mm-hmm.
for MTL because you're good. That there's what 7 wounds between Arkmer and Alaria. Uh,
Yeah.
you're just unless you kill Arkmer and Alaria and then you're finishing off Nilfheim with Wannick. That seems like a pretty unlikely scenario. So I probably wouldn't have gone for Wannick this early. I would have waited until a situation where maybe I didn't want to advance on Nilfheim and I could kind of drop on Wannick at that point to kind of put the pressure on him to advance. But well,
Yeah.
it looks like nobody can kill anybody, so there's that. Did he not attack? Yeah, he did interesting. So he decided to not attack Valgard. I probably would have
Oh.
swung for 5 on Valgard there, but I guess he just really wanted to wipe out some.
Yeah, I just
some
wanted to clear those squads. I mean, I can kind of see that because if everything goes well and you're able to like kill all the squads and then it becomes Valgard versus Nilfheim, Nilfheim's
yeah.
going to take that battle fairly well because there's no option for
Yeah,
a first
although
assault.
although by the time Nilfheim's in play, it's gonna be Pell.
Right. Yeah. 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 So yeah, and yeah, that's the other thing there. So
Valgard is probably more useful against Bucks, whereas Pell is probably more useful against Nilfheim. Although, we'll see how it plays out. But maybe I would, yeah. There's a lot that can happen before we get there.
right, got a whole game
So
to play.
so ironically, 5 attack Valgard on the charge failed to kill anything, but 2 attack Valgard did manage to take out a Buck.
Right. Yeah.
So now he's got. I think the play here is to kind of try to screen out the 5 Bucks that are clustered there in the bottom of the map. Maybe I'd try to move a couple. I might even move. I guess you can't get 3 down there, but move a couple down there. I guess he decided. Well, I could see the logic here. Basically, figuring I can't stop all of them from getting up there, especially since they have disengaged. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll make them come to me. The only problem is that means Valgard's going to be stuck on that low ground. It's not a great spot for him. So,
Right.
but he
Yeah.
did
Because you
take
got
out
two,
did
three
take out one
defense.
more Buck with a dread goal.
Yeah,
And
his attacks are looking pretty well that round. That turn we're looking pretty good.
yeah, so yeah, overall a very good first round for MTL. And if he wins initiative here, he can really solidify his position because he can get another charge round. This is actually a pretty big initiative because it's the difference between an attack of 5 from height on Valgard or attack of 4 on a dread goal and getting control of that position versus Valgard screaming down there and taking some stuff out and then being able to pin him on low ground. So MTL wins that
Yeah.
initiative. I think that's a pretty big one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, really a timely switch. Overall, yeah, I mean, you have to say Kevin's probably a little disappointed with how that first round went, given that he had the auto initiative win and with the Buccaneer advantage and a bunch of low ground dread goals. You kind of expect him to kill more than 5 dread goals there.
Right.
But
Yeah. And
I
man,
mean, he's
this
still,
position is just so bad.
yeah. Well, those
With.
two are. I mean, the thing is with disengage, if this, well, that one's very likely to die. If it doesn't die, it can swing all the way around to height because it does have disengage.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, he's probably. I wouldn't be surprised if he just completely abandons that position, just backs those guys out because Kevin's not one to take a bad fight. We'll see. We'll see which way he goes. But I mean, the other thing. I mean, he still has Nilfheim back there, so he does not need to win the Dread Goal versus Buccaneer battle. He just needs to thin them out enough that Nilfheim can do Nilfheim things.
Right. And that'll be
Uh,
interesting. I'm looking forward to see how the Nilfheim dynamic affects this game,
mhm.
as well as the B11 dynamic too.
I'm surprised that he chose to move with that one as opposed to.
Like
I'm
running away
surprised
down here.
along the very south end. I'm surprised that he decided to move that one as opposed to the one that was already engaged. I would have moved the one,
Oh, yeah.
that one, and then he could have left the other one next to the trees where it was on level ground. Because as it is now, he's giving up height attacks on two of them. He could have just only given up a height attack on one. Of course, Valgard's going to murderize one of them anyway.
Right.
So I mean, in this way, Valgard's the but still, he's going to be giving up a second height attack on that Buccaneer. So I think that's a slight inaccuracy by Kevin there. Oh, interesting. B11s.
Oh, yeah, nice.
I mean, this is probably a case of this is a reasonable play by MTL because you have to remember he didn't know he was going to win initiative. If he
Right, yeah.
lost that initiative, he could have easily been under a squad at this point. As it is, he has three left. I mean, if he had the choice now, I'm sure he would leave the order marker on the Dread Goals and get one more round of attacks with them.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know, so this was the conservative play. It makes some sense. The thing about it, though, is that the Buccaneers have that elusive ability, so they get basically a saving throw against ranged attacks. So
Yeah, which is really nice. So
I
got
didn't
that
check
guy
the order
engaging
markers.
me.
There I wouldn't be surprised if order marker 3 is on Nilfheim for Kevin. We'll see that in a minute.
Yeah, that would make sense to me.
Just because same principle. He didn't know. Well, I mean, he did know. He did lose his initiative, and I'm sure he was aware that was a possibility if he lost his initiative that he could be his Buccaneers could be pretty diminished by order marker 3. Certainly with the way with the way he's rolling right now, it does not. I mean, he'll still have a squad of them going for his order marker 2, but he could easily be out by order marker 3 or under a squad at any rate. Oh man, that's
Yeah,
three
this is
three downs. That was a very very good turn. I mean, ended up working out just fine. Like I said, I think he would have rather have had that order marker on the Dreggles, but obviously the B11s did some work. So three kills is I'm sorry, we're not done yet. Three kills,
there we
like I
go.
said.
You're just a little ahead of the game. You're good.
I was anticipating.
Yeah, this is going really, really. I mean, like you said, that second round initiative was just huge in how it's playing out. I mean,
So this in this case, basically, he has to take the attack up, and he's more or less conceding that he's just got to keep the other Buccaneers safe. Hopes that Nilfheim's going to do some work, and then maybe those last 4 Buccaneers will make a difference in endgame. That's basically
mhm.
what he's left with. So
And yeah, now order marker 3 on B11 as well,
yeah, and if you're
which
going to
makes
go
sense.
B11s, you're going to go B11s, right?
Yeah.
So now it's really at this point it comes down to what can Nilfheim get done. Although to be honest, it does not look great for Kevin. How many? So because there's four dread goals left,
Yeah,
and
one, two, three, four.
which is almost as important for just for the order marker flex as it is for their presence at this point, because
Mm-hmm.
he can just roll with Valgard, putting order markers on dread goals, and then when Valgard dies, just come right on into Pell from there, and just that's a nice way to work against Nilfheim. Although my guess is that he's going to go with the B11s until he's worried about losing order markers on them. Although if Nilfheim gets up top and there's still 4 B11s alive at that point, you would rather attack Nilfheim with Pell or Valgard rather than try to ping Nilfheim to death with attacks at 2. So
Right.
we'll see if sometimes you get in these situations where you kind of want your first B11 to die just so that they get the 3 attack. For those who aren't familiar with the B11s, they start as a 4-figure unique squad of 2 attack, 2 defense, but every time one of them dies, the others pump up one, so they become a squad of 3 that has 3 attack, 3 defense. Then they become a squad of 2 that has 4 attack, 4 defense, and then the last one standing is a 5/5 ranged figure, which is pretty awesome.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really fun to play.
Here comes the ice dragon.
And here we
It's gonna
go.
be a big initiative too if Nilf gets some kills here and then can hop on the high ground.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna really neuter the attacks from the B11s. Whereas if Nilfheim moves up here and then loses initiative, then Nilfheim's gonna get smacked on from height. So but I honestly, if I'm Kevin at this point, I've talked about this before on previous episodes. You have to recognize the situation you're in and whether you need to take risks or not. And I think at this point, Kevin's losing, so he should take a risk. And the obvious risk is to bank on winning initiative and try to take out 1 or 2 on the way in here, and then jump to the height and hope that Nilfheim holds up on height long enough to leave not that much left. Oh, he's wondering whether he can see through the tree to take two
Okay.
B11s here. Looking for a way to target three B11s with ice shards.
Yeah, it's a close call, but yeah, Nilf is super tall.
I mean, if I was playing Kevin, I wouldn't give it to him, but that's just me. I actually have no idea. It is a very close call. We'll see.
Yeah. Busting up those shards. But yeah, I think that I was actually just about to ask you about that whole, because I think that's one of the things that after you brought it up on our show, like I feel like almost every game we've talked about it again. Me and whoever I'm casting with is just knowing when you're behind and when you need to take big risks. And yeah, I mean, the timing of that is always tough, but if Kevin gets this initiative switch and is able to come up here, that's a great position. And if not, he was behind anyway.
Right, and it's very bad if he loses this initiative because they're up to 3-3, so he'll be dealing with, instead of dishing out three attacks of four, he'll be dealing with three attacks of four.
Yeah, and that'll hurt a lot.
That's a swing. Oh yeah, well.
Oh yeah, well, and there's a 20 for MTL on initiative.
So I think we pretty much know for sure this is going to be three attacks of four on Nilfheim. So I'm guessing that Kevin would have flown next to the dread goal and just crossed his fingers and hoped that he killed the one dread goal with an attack of 4v3 and then gone for two more attacks of four on the B11s. Probably would have been his play.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, if Nilf manages to survive, Nilf can still jump on that height, engage them, and get that. So it's just a question of surviving three attacks of four. Not the best situation.
Right. It's, and even if he okay. It's not a great start.
Not a great start, as they say in the business. Yeah.
And a very bad follow as well.
Turns out he didn't need the third attack.
Yeah.
So that happened.
Holy cow. And yeah, I was looking at the order markers earlier, and there were 3 order markers on Nilfheim, so that's at least 2 turns.
He hit elusive, so there's that. I wonder, is Kevin even going to play it out? That's pretty much game.
Yeah.
That's a tough break. I mean, it was like I said, it was the chance he had to take. Interesting. So he went with 2 on dread goals. Actually, that makes some sense because he figures whether or not he wins initiative by his order marker 2. If Nilfheim's not dead, Nilfheim's on height.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, Valgard and the dread goals are delivering as much punishment as the B11s was. That's actually very smart order marker placement.
Yeah, that's I'm really impressed with just like how well MTL's been able to play with just like looking at how the battle's going to adapt and just like really good safe order marker placements.
Mm-hmm. I think he's played a strong tournament overall. I actually played him in an earlier round, and I think I made a really big mistake in army selection in that game. But his actual play in the game was, I thought, really strong. So yeah, there's a charge and
nice charge to get up there.
Interesting that I guess he's sending Pell off to go kill Arkmer, which makes sense because Pell doesn't care about getting engagement struck.
He's a big old sack of hit points.
Yeah, Pell's negative powers are both very fun. He's one of my I feel like he's one of the designs we really nailed in C3V. Just he is exactly what he looks like he is, and it feels good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think because he's like super simple. I love the 2 negative powers, but still being he's still such a strong unit.
He's actually really good. I think he's arguably the best dread goal Bondi unit for the points, just because the negative powers they're absolutely impact the game, but you're still getting such good stats. It's worth it.
Mm-hmm. They're just rounding up the
mostly clean up here. Yeah, presumably Pell will jump up to high ground to contest Arkmer. Oh, he won't.
I guess you have to go that way.
Gotta come around. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, and just in case anybody doesn't know, he's got one power where basically he cyberclaws himself whenever he moves into engagement. So if he moves there, he has to stop. So he has to take the roundabout route.
Yeah, it's called lazy.
Lazy. Such a good power.
Love it. I love it so much. All right, so Kevin is going to fight to the end. like a good B11 soldier would. And MTL keeps the streak of winning every initiative where you actually roll it.
I wonder if he actually. I kind of want to go back now and see if he. Because they rolled the initiative, even though Kevin Dola.
Right. Be funny to see. Yeah, they were all both of this one. Obviously, it doesn't matter that much, but the two live game initiatives were both pretty important because that first one allowed him to get the jump on the Buccaneers on the bottom end of the map.
Mm-hmm.
And then the obviously the last one was enormous, preventing Nilfheim from taking height. Made
Yeah.
a huge difference.
Just totally shutting Nilfheim down. Yeah. That.
Right. Well, yeah. Well,
It's been
what the
huge.
dice did was insane, but even if the dice had just done normal things, you're probably going to put 3 wounds on Nilfheim in that turn.
Mm-hmm.
That's expected if you win initiative. So it was a huge initiative win, even setting aside how insane the result was.
There's
Buccaneers doing their thing.
final Buccaneer attack. Got MTL down to one full squad of
Down goes
Dreadglow
Arkmar.
hitters. Yeah, they're man.
On Ilaria, I believe Ilaria can only do her runaway thing against squad figures. So
Yeah, I think so.
Hell's not going to have too much trouble hunting Ilaria down.
Yeah, and she's only got she's been taking the Manok wounds as well, so that's only 2 wounds you'll need to deal to her.
Yeah, I think this is just about fat lady singing time. But yeah, I was pretty happy with this format. I'm pretty excited to try it again at some point. Probably not. No, we tend to try to cycle through our events, so we probably won't run it for some time. But we'll probably tweak it a little. Like I guess I'm not sure we'll do the auto initiative next time around. But it's a very fun format.
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes for some really unique games. You know, where you've got some units on high and some units on low. Kind of separates itself from both heat of battle and chaos of battle in that way.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah. So
that
that was a pretty solid win from MDL. It managed to sort of weather the storm in that first round, and then really blew it open in that second round, and then the first order marker in the third round really over the course of about 4 order markers, the whole game kind of shifted.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, and I think MTL, I mean, like, just playing with those order markers, like the initiative wins helped a ton.
Mhm.
I'm interested to see how it would have gone, even if he'd like lost some of those initiatives, just because his order marker placement was really good beyond that.
I agree.
Just great follow up.
I think he probably could have weathered losing that second round initiative, and things were still in a pretty good spot for him. Valgard would have taken a bunch of hits, but I mean, as you can see, Pell and Valgard escaped almost unscathed.
Yeah.
But he could have done so he could have weathered that second. He did have a very smart game plan, I thought. And Kevin didn't. I thought Kevin did a really good job in placement. Things didn't really. He should have done. He did well in the first round, but I'm sure he was disappointed with the results of that first round. With the Buccaneers and the initiative win, and with all of that low ground placement of the Dread goals, I imagine he was hoping to really come out ahead in that first round, and it ended up being kind of a draw. So let's see what they thought. I should have spent more effort killing B11s. They really finished me off. I actually disagree with Kevin on this. I think he made the right decision to go after Dread goals first. I don't think that was where he. I mean, if I had some issues with his placements, just very minor ones, but overall I thought he basically made the right call to try to concentrate on Dread goals. You just didn't get him down fast enough.
Yeah, I think.
And this I agree with. This is I think I was surprised he didn't put Pell in the water. I thought starting the game with Pell pinned in on the water because Pell's lazy.
Yeah.
We forced him down there, and he could have been having attacks of 5 on Pell every order marker. So
that's true.
That is a placement that I thought he would go with, that he did not. So you could see his logic. Basically, I didn't think it would matter much with you having 2 of them. I still feel like getting 1 attack of 5 on Pell every turn would have been a pretty nice way to spend your time.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing is, I feel with Insanity of Battle much more than with Chaos or Heat of Battle. You really feel like, man, I want every placement. You're like, they're all so precious because you have these opportunities to set up attacks on your opponent by placing your units in one spot and your opponent's units in another spot. And meanwhile, they're doing the same thing to you. So it's really you are torn in so many directions when you're doing your insanity battle placement. That's my favorite part of it. A lot of times I feel like in heat of battle, like after the first two placements, it's almost like paint by numbers the rest of the way. It doesn't really matter that much. But insanity of battle, I feel like there's an intensity to it the whole way through.
I
So
definitely agree with that. I mean, like, I wasn't able to try it out, but I mean, just watching this game, you can see where, like, I mean, half the game happens when you're placing figures because, I mean, that's going to dictate the first round at the very least, if not, I mean,
yeah,
pretty much the rest of the game as well.
for sure, it ended up being, basically they decided where the battle happened. I mean, it's not surprising with this map that it ends up
Mhm.
mostly being in that middle area.
Right.
Obviously, that's the nature of this map, and this is one of those things that I like about when we play these funky formats. We can use some maps that maybe we wouldn't use in a normal format. Like I think if we use this map in just a regular start zone event, people will be like, I don't know if this is a fair matchup. Like, because you look at that start zone on the left,
Hmm.
in my opinion, has an incredible advantage over the start zone on the right because you can just throw all your
Yeah.
figures up on the road right away, and you got you can cruise onto the height area. Whereas on the right, you have a
Yeah,
yeah,
like
you
choke
got to go on
point,
this single path, or you got to jump the water.
water.
It's no good. I mean, you are a little closer to the height, so if you wanted to start zone camp, you have that option, but that's start zone camping is pretty lame. So like saying that
Yeah.
like your best strategy is start zone camping is not not good. So I don't yeah I would not use this map in a typical event, but I feel like being able to use these asymmetric maps, which asymmetric maps are cool, everybody likes them. Being able
Hmm.
to use these formats is fun.
Yeah, no, definitely agreed. I actually, I mean, I just finished doing the reverse draft
Yeah.
semifinals, and that was on Airwood's Bluff, which is similarly asymmetric. And yeah,
Yes.
I agree. It's really cool to see different kinds of maps being able to be used with just, you just have to change a little bit of how you play the game, and it changes a lot. It's cool.
For sure. All right.
But cool. Thanks so much for joining me with this, Doc. It was, I had a lot of fun. It was a really cool game, and really,
It was
really
fun.
appreciated just like all the insight you were able to bring to it, especially.
It's my pleasure. It's a lot of fun to do these. Thank you for your service to the community putting these out. They're really fun to catch.
Yeah, yeah, this is all just community service for me. They won't tell you, but got a little trouble a while ago, and so here we go.
I want to live in a world where a judge assigns Heroscape podcasting as community service.
I know, right? That'd be awesome.
That's the world I want to be in.
But yeah, thanks again. If you're watching this, especially where I was able to draw on the screen for the first time, I'd love to hear any feedback about that. Like certain like drawings you'd like, not like, I mean, don't tell me to draw a puppy on each game. I might do that anyway, but just like different ways I can use this. I'm working with a lot of new technology, so I'm very open to any feedback you've got about it. So I'm excited to hear that. And thanks for joining us. We'll catch y'all in the next game. And this is 10 points under and out.